All right, here we are. We have promised you, and I'm probably on the wrong side, but it's okay for the camera. But we have with us a special guest. This is a Patriot News Network special event. We are covering the 14th district, a special election that will happen on March the 10th, and we're probably looking at a runoff for sure. I mean, I don't know how we couldn't with. And did they do that on the special? I mean, that would be a runoff if nobody gets 50 plus one, right?
Right. If nobody gets 50.
Yeah. So we're with all the people that are running, we'll probably have that, and then we'll get into the nuts and bolts of it. But here with us today is Miss Jenna Turnipseed, who is a business owner, a veteran, and someone who wants to do something for America, and I think that is awesome. So we're going to introduce her and then let her talk about why she wants to get into the craziness of politics. You know, it's like anything. You have a lot of it's the best of times. It could be the hard times, but exposing yourself to all those people, it's like podcasting. You know, it's people love you, they don't like you, they give you a hard time, but it's rewarding. It's very rewarding. So thanks for being with us, first of all, today. And So first of all, if I got anything wrong, correct me. And it's raining here today. I'm thankful the streams are all good. Biscuit Boy's behind me here, so I'm glad he could be here. And tell us this is going to come up really fast. I mean, here we are, right at 2 months, and it'll be election day. And I know you've already been busy because I've seen your campaign material and what you're doing online. But introduce us to you. This is your story.
Okay, so you got the business owner and being a military vet, correct? I did 22 years in the military, 2 years National Guard, 20 active duty.
Awesome.
I own Chickamauga Creek Farms. So we have a aquaponic farm, and what that is that we grow inside of a greenhouse. All of the fish waste feeds all of the vegetables. The vegetables clean all the water, and it's a closed loop system.
Amazing.
We do vegetables outside and things during the year, seasonal vegetables that we'll take to the farmer's market. But the greenhouse is really like our key piece because it lets us grow all year. So like that lettuce I gave you this morning, I just pulled out this morning.
Oh, awesome. And we thank you so much for that.
Absolutely. So what you didn't get is that I'm also a high school teacher.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow. So I missed something.
So I asked for 4 p.m. because I drove straight here from Ridgeland High School. So
okay.
I teach over at Ridgeland, and then I'm also the Ridgeland High School rifle coach.
Wow. So, and when do you find time to sleep is all we want to know.
Yeah. Okay, so I also have 4 kids.
Bless your heart.
So I try to sleep a little bit earlier, but yeah, not a lot of sleep.
Well, reminds me of my wife.
I have always done. People ask me. I thought when you got older, you're supposed to slow down. I get busier.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad thing. I really love it. I'm passionate about what I do, and people say, "God, you're doing this all the time or whatever," but it's just driven. I don't. It's rewarding. I don't know how to.
Right.
There's a passion about it, I guess.
You find something that you want to do, and you find something that you're interested in, and you just kind of like delve in, and that's how you want to spend your time.
Yeah. So, have you ever served in politics before?
I have not.
Okay.
So I've only been retired from the Army for 2 years.
Good.
I definitely probably could have got some involved in the last few years, but by nature of being active duty military, there's a lot of things that you're prevented from being able to do.
Sure.
Like you can't even give certain statements when it comes to politics.
Right.
And I retired right at the time that I had my 4th child. So my youngest is not quite 3 years old. So I did the stay-at-home mom thing and then picked up teaching. And
yeah, and that's just a question to say, because I didn't think that you had, but I wanted to verify that, which I think, just my opinion, this is Dave's opinion. Nowadays, people kind of almost prefer it because they a lot of people who vote say, I'm not happy. I want somebody who's never been there, right. Feeling that they're not attached to any particular thing, or people or something they may like or don't like. They just want somebody to come in with a fresh ideas to serve. And I think that's been popular in the last at least 5 to 6 years, I believe myself. Yeah. I don't know what have you. As you've talked to people, I don't know if you've had any kind of campaign meetings or anything yet, but as you've talked to people, how has that came up, and what have people told you?
Yeah, I think I've seen a lot of comments, and it's not just me. There's several other people in this race, right, that don't necessarily have a political background.
Right.
And they're very surprised by the amount of people that have jumped straight into a congressional race, right?
Yeah.
For me, the reason for doing that versus trying to do like a local seat or a House seat is that the last 10, 15 years of my military career have really centered around military modernization and the federal budget. So the federal level is just where I'm very, very comfortable at. That is where I have worked. And that's kind of why I went for a congressional race versus like a state house seat or even a commissioner's position or something.
That makes sense.
Very well. It makes a lot of sense. And yeah, because some people say you do your stepping stone and you kind of move up, but that's not always the case. And there's been, well, even the president, I mean, he didn't go through those channels. He went straight to the top and ran for it and has been elected multiple times. So I think in this day and time, most people don't think about it in that term. And from your description or explanation, it would make perfect sense of why you would want to do that because you think on that level.
Right.
How long have you been in this area? I should have asked in the district, we'll say.
Okay. So we've owned our house in Chickamauga for the last 7 years. We bought it in about 2018. I was active duty for a few years between 2001, 2003. That's where I met my husband. He is from Ringgold.
Okay.
He is the one that brought me back to this district.
Good man. Got a good man right there.
Yeah. So I came home Christmas, same Christmas. He proposed me the first time he ever brought me home to Georgia. I absolutely fell in love with the place.
Easy to do.
Yeah, we moved back here, lived for a couple of years. It was OIF1 during that time, right? So my husband didn't actually see his daughter until she was 4 months old for the first time.
Wow.
So that was why we got out of service. And then I went to the National Guard. I went to Dalton State College at the time. So I joined as enlisted. I wasn't an officer before, right? I was a mechanic, had to go get a degree. But I loved the area, but I really missed serving. So after 2 years in National Guard, I agreed. I got a deployment to Iraq for conditional release. We went back to active duty, but ever since, this has been home for us.
Wow.
Awesome. Thank you, Broski. Yeah, he was just saying Dave, Paul, and Jenna. So thank you for tuning in. Broski is North Carolina,
Okay.
but he definitely keeps an eye out towards Georgia politics.
A lot of people do.
The nation is watching.
Yeah.
How have you kept up in looking at the 14th over a time period, or how much have you really paid attention to the 14th in a political way? Because you were all over the place, obviously
Right.
doing things, but from being outside of the 14th to being inside of it, what have you seen that you liked? And I'm not asking you to comment about who was there before, just about the 14th as a whole. What things? Because I really want to go to what can Jenna do and help us do the 14th. What do you like? We're really good here, but here's where I think we could use some help.
Right. So I have probably kept an eye on the 14th since about the time that the 14th was created, right? So that would be this prior to Marjorie Taylor Greene's original election. And then obviously with the news media paid a lot of attention there. And I will say that is probably one of the best things that Marjorie Taylor Greene has done. Like the elevation of the importance of our district nationally is huge.
Right.
I love the ability that we have to make that input nationally and be able to know and be able to have a seat at the table. So to me, that's one of the coolest things about the 14th district. I think a lot of the things that we need work on, though, are a lot of the things that are probably the same around the country. Education, to me, obviously being a teacher is a big one, but a lot of that is going to be like what we call CTAE programs, so career, technical, and agricultural and educational programs. I have had the benefit of living in a bunch of different states. I've got to see really cool programs in different schools that my kids went to, and I would like to see like a larger precedence on that here. I think one of the other things I would like to see, and this is really personally for me becoming a farmer, and it's some of the way that the laws and the regulations overlap that limits small business. Some of the things that I've had to go to just to be able to have the farm and register are somewhere that I think we need a significant amount of improvement.
Very nice. Very nice. What are some things that you saw? And I'm not asking again, not people, but you made a great point. I've said this before to people who have criticized the last few years. I have heard people say we're an embarrassment to the rest of the country. I say, no, we're not. Just because you may like or don't like what someone has said, 14th was put on the map. I mean, we are known worldwide, not just U.S. wide, worldwide. We are known. Everybody knows about this district.
Right.
It has a lot of attention on it. So that gives us a leg up. We don't have to sell who we are. Everybody knows who we are. So we have a benefit there.
So this district has actually been really big on that even before Marjorie Taylor Greene. So I remembered, and I want to say it was Iraq, 2002, 2003. I was watching the news, and the SecDef is in Iraq, like taking questions from soldiers. And a soldier from the city of Ringgold stands up and is like, why doesn't my armored Humvee have any armor on the floor? Like, we're getting blown out from the bottom. And we always see these little news clips, military wise anyways. And I would be watching it, and all of a sudden it would be somebody that was from Dalton, that was from Ringgold. So it's kind of always had its little voice, but now it's like unified.
Sure. And because on that national level, you have a vote within the national spending, defense spending, what gets in, what doesn't. That's always that, I know here in Georgia, they call it making sausage, that everything that goes in to make a bill and get it through, things get attached. We could talk about that later, but that is one of the biggest things that is voted on is the national defense.
Right.
And everybody has a vote there and things that they want to see for their, their state bases, military bases of soldiers and things like that. And you've been on that side of it.
Right.
So I'm just assuming, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that would be an important thing for you because of your background.
Right. And that's really what drives a lot of my interest to want to be able to run. I think that there's probably several good people looking at the pool. I haven't met all of them, obviously, right? But there's 2, maybe 3 of us that have ever actually sat down and read a National Defense Authorization Act or understand how the National Defense Authorization Act feeds the National Defense Strategy or the National Military Strategy. And all of that is tied to the funding of a lot of other stuff we do to be able to understand how our procurement lines work, how our budget lines work, how one thing affects another. I think is really important to be able to step into this role, especially right now.
Especially right now. I'm one of those guys. A second, Paul, now I'm getting to you. I've actually pulled up the bill and went down into it to see what all it was.
Right.
A lot of people just hear the media or the people in Congress talking about it on a state level or federal level. But how many pull it up and actually read through that bill and see what's in it and how it changes? Because you get an early version, then they go through all their meetings and things can change. And you want to make sure that those things that the soldiers need are still in there. So thanks for answering that, Paul.
I was just going to add, what do you think is the number one threat to our national security?
So honestly, it's going to be our national debt. And I know that that's going to sound really weird, right?
No.
But the amount of money that we spend on interest on our national, the amount of money that we spend on interest, right, in our national debt, all of that money is now limited from being able to spend on priorities like defense spending.
Right.
So.
Okay.
We had a question, a 2-parter. What would you do differently than the Marjorie Taylor Greene as far as what you see? Or what would you like to build on from what she did? Is there something there that you see that I would like to build on?
Okay, so obviously what I just said as far as the presence that she has established, right? Like that's what I would like to build on. I think being able to keep North Georgia's voice and being able to keep a seat at the party is important for us. What I would do differently is that my personality is very different, right? I am not the loud, argumentative, like controversial person. And that's fine. That is some people's personalities. I prefer to sit down and have a conversation. I think that you really have to be able to be at the table to be able to get something to work out and understand. I think that there is a benefit to being that loud, boisterous voice, right? Because it gets you the attention. And now that she has got us the attention, we need to be able to sit down and actually do the work. So we need to have somebody at that table that can have conversations and be able to work with other people.
Absolutely. And I was saying before the show, just a full disclosure, we're sitting in the 14th district right now, and I'm a voter in the district. I am also a poll worker. I'm on 2 streets over from where I'll be serving as assistant manager for this special election, and I have not decided who I'm voting for because I'm evaluating, and this is part of that. I appreciate you so much coming in, and it's so nice to sit and talk about these issues because Georgia has been Georgia probably. Almost has been one of the most, probably the most media states over the last several years for presidential and this district. It stays in the news, which is a good and a bad thing sometimes, but the issues are out there for us. I mean, this is a pretty big district. I mean, it runs, I guess it runs down to Rome or just past Rome.
Right.
Where's kind of like the southern end of the district, if you know?
It's right about Rome. The county's kind of split in half. So we're going to come, we've got like this U-shaped, right? So you're at Murray, you're all the way over. We cut down, but we don't have like this center section of 75. And then when we cut down, we broaden back out. And it's kind of at that Rome line where we get wide again.
Okay. So it's a lot of people, and it is a very conservative district. people. It's not to say that there's not people that are not conservative, because they are, but it is a very. I would just say this: Marjorie Taylor Greene had strong support here.
Yes.
I saw myself, and I've said this on the air. I saw more of her signs than I saw the president's signs, because people here were not that it wasn't a divider. It was they were voting. They wanted to put signs up for who they wanted in this district.
Right.
And they said, this is something we're voting on for us, for here, for my church, which is on Lookout Mountain, and coming the back way over to Chickamauga, and on the yards are filled with her signs.
Right.
So if you can gain that support, and then they like Jenna, then your name is going to be everywhere,
right.
because they will put the yard signs out in this area. You know?
Yeah.
They like to do that.
People
what
around
about,
here are very loyal.
They are very loyal.
Very loyal.
What do you see? Because Marjorie was very involved with concerned about things that are on the foreign field. Obviously, your military background. Where do you see, and how does what your beliefs fit into America First, or the role of our military and things like that? And how would that guide you in your voting when you're looking at things that we would be voting on, either domestically or internationally? Which this district, this seat has the ability to have a vote and be involved in, and of course committee assignments as well. Don't know what that would be, but it's important if you get on some of those that deal with those kinds of things. But
right.
Where do you see that? I'm not asking you to versus Marjorie or nothing like that, but where do you see that, where we're at right now as a country, and where do you see that as far as the foreign part and about domestically? You know, what we're seeing right now in our country, border patrol or control and everything else.
Right.
Kind of give us a sense. That's a broad question, but just give us a sense of that.
So to give kind of a more of a broader scope, right, without
Yes.
getting stuff too much, right? Our military defense and what engagements we have chose to get into in different countries has changed throughout time, right? At right around Vietnam time, right, you're looking at a Truman Doctrine, where we decided, hey, we're going to go to any country and we're defending on the right of democracy, and we're going to help any country that this is what they're striving for. And then you move down the years, right, a little bit, and we finally solidify the Powell-Weinberger Doctrine. And to me, that's kind of what we need to go back to, right? And it still exists, but we've never really used it. And it says that we're only going to go into a country, right? It needs to guard our interest, right? We very much America first. We don't need to go into a country that doesn't benefit our strategic interests. It doesn't help our country. We shouldn't be spending our money somewhere else. But in addition to that, and this goes where it's in line with the Powell-Weinberger Doctrine, we don't go in without a strategy and a reason and a check mark of we accomplished this, and now we exit. And I think that's one of the things that we're really feeling and that needs to be looked at. So we don't need to just go into a country because it benefits our interest.
Mm-hmm.
We need to go into a country because it benefits our interest. We need to know what our strategic objective is to do there and what that line is of where we're leaving.
Yes, that's
don't leave the way Biden.
Yeah, that's a huge. That is a huge statement, and it is absolutely so true when you look at what they call the endless wars or the endless engagements, or we have 100,000 troops in 2 different countries, and what is the path forward? What is the answer? What is the plan? What is the mission statement? It's important. So I like to hear that, because I think that has been something that we have struggled with in these. When you one of the things I want to bring it back to the 14th for a minute, and Paul, jump in wherever. I know Paul's got some questions. Let me just ask this real quick. I really like the town halls. I have been to several over the last 4 years, I believe it is. I really like that. I like the settings of the town hall, the opportunity to come in and sit and listen. Is that something you're interested in doing and continuing, or how would you address? I'm not asking you to be like anyone else, but how do you see that? Because I like that opportunity to get in front of my elected official in a really nice setting. It's not confrontational. It's just sitting down and having a conversation. I like that.
No, I really like the town halls. I did have somebody actually ask me specifically a question about the town halls and how would you host them? And it was an individual that their only concern is they had gone to town halls, tried to ask questions, but you had to write it on a card and you didn't know if it got selected. I would like somebody to be able to stand up, have a conversation with me and ask me a question, because they might write something down, but that might need a follow-on question, right? So I
Yes.
would like to be in front of a town hall, but I would also like to have that back and forth dialogue. The other thing that I would like to do is just be able to go listen to other people, right? You know, if you're a representative, obviously people want to know how you feel, but the point of being a representative is to represent your district. So I need to be able to just hear other people speak. I need to know about what you're concerned about and what your issue is, because you guys bring stuff to light to me that I might have not been exposed to. So I kind of like to see both of that happen.
Very good. Paul, go ahead. I've got a follow up here just for a second, but go ahead.
Well, one of the questions that I have is, do you support term limits?
Yeah, absolutely.
Congress.
Yep. So I actually signed the U.S. term limits agreement, or a pledge that states if you go to Congress that you will vote for no less than a 6-year term for a representative and a 12-year term for senators. I don't know why, but that organization is primarily Republican, right? There's about 120 people that have signed it. I think 110 to 113 of them are Republican, but they chose a blue background, right? And I understand the flag is red, white, and blue, right? We are all of the colors. But I posted on the page for the term limits, and for about a week straight, everybody thought I was a Democrat.
Oh, Lord.
Wow.
So I got to figure a better way to display that than using the graphic that they created, because it caused a lot of confusion.
Right. Wow.
There's
Okay.
it's funny. We used to be one color, then we changed colors, then we go, and it just people get caught up. But the colors attract people's attention.
Yeah.
They really do. If you watch our leaders and the solid ties and the colors, and it's amazing. It really is.
Yeah.
But
If you look at my signs in the yard, I try to put like a big red line under it, right? That says Turnipseed for Congress, Georgia 14. But the actual outline with the state is in blue with like the words in the red and the star.
yeah,
And it's the same thing. My sister's like, why are you using blue? And I was like, they look good together, right? It's red, white, and blue. And she's
Yeah.
like,
I did the same thing in the announcement for this show. I put something out, had red, white, and blue, and I went through this whole thought process of I had American flags and all in there. Do I have too much blue? I hate that we have to even think on those terms. I'm thinking,
right?
my goodness, we're concerned with colors and things. Broski said, thanks for answering my previous question. Here's another. If riots such as the current ones in Minneapolis broke out in the 14th district, how would you like to see them handled? That's a good question.
So I would like to see them handled through Governor Kemp with the National Guard. I think that Georgia has a great National Guard,
We
and
do.
I think that he would be very quick to address that with that. So
Yeah, Georgia has done a good job. They've been really good about pulling the instigators out and then kind of letting getting the other people to break up and bringing people in to talk to them to calm them down. There's been some problems, but they've done a pretty good job of that. I think that's a fair assessment. How valuable do you view acquiring Greenland for our country's security? And we're hearing different things, so we don't know. And obviously, she doesn't know because he's just asking your opinion. But the president's all over the place with this, buying it. I don't. We have agreements that go back to the 50s about
Right.
putting military bases there. There's been as many as 17 bases there, but this is all in the news right now.
yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna say I've seen a lot of this. I don't fully know how I feel on it, right? Like I want to know what the strategic plan is that goes with it.
Yeah.
Obviously, being a fiscal conservative, I want to know what the cost is, right?
Right.
And because you don't just buy something too. If you're going to move bases, if you're going to do anything, that all comes with a dollar value.
Sure.
So before I weigh in on that, there's like a lot more that I need to know and understand.
Make sure it's not going to become Trump land.
Fair enough.
If there was a Trump line, I'd probably visit. In
Yeah,
fairness.
me too. Me too. I'm not knocking it.
One last one. What is your approach to help making home ownership affordable for middle class Americans? And also, are you opposed to large investors buying homes? So, a couple of different questions there. So, making affordable housing more affordable for the middle class, and are you opposed to large investors buying homes? So, a couple of questions there.
So, yes, when it comes to large investors just buying large portions of home, I think that we already see a huge problem with that when it comes to farmland, right? They'll buy a couple acres,
Yes.
they'll develop it, and then that quickly leads to something else being able to zone next to it, something else to get next to it. And if they buy a large amount of homes, then they have this space that they can occupy. And then because they own so much of that territory, they can make more of an argument to change or develop it how they need to. So I am absolutely against that. And then when it comes to homeowners, I wish we had better programs for first-time homeowners. Now, I'm not gonna lie, like if I'm talking to a teenager in class, my first response is going to be, go join the Army, right?
Yeah.
Let's graduate, let's leave, let's have a job, because guess what? Now you have a VA program where you can have a down payment.
That's right. Yeah.
So for sometimes I understand that economics is different the way it is right now.
Right.
We are in a very different situation. There are people that are 30 and 40 years old trying to buy a home, and obviously joining the military is not the right answer. But several years ago, that's be like, there's an option for you. Let's go earn the benefits.
Yep.
And I think we need to start looking at other types of program for first-time homeowners for the generations that are coming up because of the situation that they're in.
My personal opinion on that is I don't believe there's enough financial education in the school system.
There's not at all.
I mean, we preach this
Right.
with our financial firm. There needs to be more education, and let kids get started early, developing the proper habits of saving and investing and things of that nature, and know what their options are.
Right. You know, I've got students that come in because they're stressed out because they're trying to figure out logarithms. And I'm like, do you know how to balance a checkbook? Right?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the pluses and minuses on the thing? And everybody's used to a credit card and you're like, swipe, and they don't even know what's on it.
Yeah. Exactly.
So yeah, I think financial literacy is huge. And I think most of the students that we have, it's bad, but they're not prepared
No, they're
for
not.
life after high school.
We see it every day.
Yeah.
And,
Go ahead.
I just think that is a huge priority for this country. And, you know, I know Trump wants education to come back to the states, you know, and I agree with that. But I think, you know, state by state, there needs to be some kind of financial literacy plan put in place.
Right.
To start
I totally
educating
agree.
our younger
Yeah.
people.
And I think being able to put the education system back in the states is one of the keys to be able to make that happen.
Yes.
Because the state is able to establish a priority and say, hey, this is where we see problems and this is what we need to be able to fix. And right now you can't do that.
Exactly.
As a farmer, as a business owner, I didn't even realize that before you came. I think I just saw it today about the farm. This is exciting to me. This district has still a lot of farmers. This is people even here don't even realize just over the border how many farms there still are in Catoosa County, especially, which is a very growing county. But throughout the 14th, there's a lot of farms.
Right.
What do you see? What issues do you see with farming from your side of that as a business owner, someone who's in, having a farm, having a business? What can you do, and what things could you help to drive on that federal level to help the farmers?
Okay. So the problems with farming could be an entirely another show.
Yeah.
Okay. Like an entirely.
Yeah, we got to have you back on that. But just an
so-
overview of a couple things that you
Right.
see.
Okay. So it's going to be regulations and limitations, and that's across small businesses, right? It's not just farms.
Right.
So take our farm, for example. I can legally harvest vegetables, right? So I can cut them off a branch. I can pull them out of the ground, but I can't take scissors or anything else to it, right? So I'll do like a spring mix or something for lettuce, and I have to like harvest them all loose and be able to put it together because I can't touch it. You have to have a licensed food service kitchen to be able to do anything. Now, on a cottage food license, I can bake your food and I can give you baked food because, right, it's shelf stable, whatever.
Right.
But I can't legally cut my lettuce with a knife.
Wow.
Right? I can't legally, like, we have a really good salad that we eat at home that's got like 2 different kinds of veg or salads, and we put cilantro in there.
Right.
I can't chop that up and sell it as a salad mix because it goes in the refrigerator and on the shelf. But I can crack eggs and mix it in a bowl and bake it.
Wow.
Well, that makes a whole
So
lot of
that's the whole
sense right
thing.
there.
And then in the state of Georgia, we have this great like land conservation where you can get a tax reduction if you keep your land agricultural. Okay. So before I decided to run for Congress, our farm has been working on converting a barn into a market. And I'm really excited because this is like the goal is to have this be a fully Georgia grown store.
Right.
So we
Love
have a lot of local vendors and things like that, but then all the different craziness we're able to get from out of Georgia, depending on the specialties. For us to be allowed to sell not just our lettuce, but to be able to sell like the neighbor's meat from down the street, even if the farm's across the way, we had to pay to break our agricultural easement. Despite the fact that nothing changes, the farm is still a farm. We're selling agricultural products, and we only converted a barn that's already standing. We didn't add a building or anything. So
Wow.
we had to pay back twice the land conservation savings for every year that we had the easement on the property to be able to do that.
That's lunacy.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
And that has
Wow.
been a problem that at the president in the first term talked about deregulation of some things and the crippling of small business
Right.
and not being able to do the things you need to do to have a business.
Yeah. So this is, and I know we're getting a little bit
No,
back
that's
off
okay.
topic. We can jump back, but so this is where my huge desire to be in Congress and work with a lot of the national budget and stuff, right? So one of the easiest examples that I always try to give everybody is it's not just business, right? This layer. There was a point in my last assignment where I had to move a Connex. A Connex is like a military shipping container you might see on the back of a railhead. It cost $2,600, right? $2,600 to move it from here to where I needed it to go. The credit card limit to be able to swipe and pay a vendor is $2,500 if it's a personal service. And if you're moving on a truck, it's considered a service, right? Versus buying something.
Right.
But I can buy something for 10 grand, but I can't pay a service more than 2,500. So I was required to write a contract. Contracts in the military take an average of 12 to 18 months to achieve.
Wow.
They have all this additional layered paperwork. All these people have to sign it, all these approvals and things to go through.
Yes.
And I would very easily and safely estimate that there was about $20,000 of labor that went into this action of writing a contract to try to move a container from here to there. Now we got really lucky after about like 6 months of spinning our wheels. Somebody else had a truck that we were able to call and we were able to get another unit to work with somebody else to get to move it. And we saved it. But I mean, it took us 6 months to find that solution. And the correct Army answer was to write a contract and waste everybody's time and effort. And that's where my big thing was the budget is. There's so much more that we could do. There's so much more that we can have. If we just change the structure of the way we would do things.
Yes. What was the moment that you said, I need to go into this race? Was there a defining moment, or was it a series of things that you said, I want to run for this seat?
So the defining moment was literally the second that MTG resigned. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
I've always been interested in it. I've always, just because of the impact that Congress has on the military. There's, besides budgets, there's different regulations in the way that things that we do, and the authorizations to change or fix it in the military is in Congress, right? Anything you want to do, the right answer is Congress has to fix it. Okay. So my desire to be there has always existed. We had some different conversations about the race and stuff coming up, and I was in Florida with my daughter, and my mother texts me and she goes, did you see the news? Right? MTG just resigned. And it was literally, it took 5 minutes for me to call my husband, and I was like, is this okay? Can I run?
Go for it, man.
Yeah, I think the 4 or 5 days from the day that she resigned to be able to like register and be considered a candidate with the FEC was just the duration of me trying to find somebody that I trusted to be my treasurer so I could put somebody's name on that paperwork. And that was it.
Wow.
Amazing. That's great. I like that. I mean, because for some people it may be a series of events that happen. They start kind of warming up to the idea. I mean, right away you said, I want to do this.
Now, okay, I will say that was probably not my better interest because I'm learning a lot about politics. Why I did this. No, I did not stand up and run with a huge team, because most people are going to have all their ducks in a row. They're going to make sure they have that team. You have a fundraising manager and a campaign manager and all this other stuff. And I literally hit go, and I'm trying to figure it out as I go. So I'm currently the poor unfunded candidate in the race.
Well,
but that's okay.
Well, you know, and when
I
was telling people the people that do the voter surveys and they educate you Ballotpedia or wherever it's at. I mean, I've actually been involved with some of that in the past where we would evaluate candidates not in our district, but could be like I've done South Georgia before, or I might be doing, I don't know, West Virginia. They give you people all over. But one of the things we look at is you look at their campaign, their website, their literature. You kind of grade that, kind of what it was. Is the platform clear? You know, you look at what money they've given to other people or causes or something, and what money has come in. And when I pulled up the one, I didn't see any money coming to you. I was like, well, maybe they haven't declared that yet. So
no, so we actually haven't had declare for the end of last year, right? You haven't until January declare last year, and you don't have to declare if you haven't raised or spent more than $5,000. I made it through 2025 without raising $5,000, so there will still be nothing on the beginning. And however, when I pay the filing fee on Monday, obviously I will have spent more than $5,000. So at that point, we will have hit the breach to be able to file. So
and then I know on one of them, I don't know if you've seen it. They will. I'm sure that all of you will receive it. One of those sends a survey which is pretty nice. It just hits major issues and
Yeah.
stuff like that, which I think it helps gauge the it helps gauge how that person, how they feel about things personally. I will say this, and doing a lot of these, I mean, I have done a lot of candidates and give them a grade. And what we grade them on, and there's a lot of people involved, there's a lot of layers to it, but it's all the way from very liberal to very conservative and all points in between. I was amazed in looking, because some people you have nothing on. There's nothing.
Mhm.
Well, it could be a person who's never served before. It could be that they just haven't, for some reason, there's just not a lot there. And they don't say a lot,
Right.
So, but they've not voted on anything, or if they have voted, we'll look at that. But we look at their social media,
Mhm.
and it is amazing to me how bad some of those social medias are, because we are driven by the phone and picking it up and looking at those things. And I noticed on yours, and I was telling Paul can swear to this, is before you got here, I said she does a good job with at least social media, because every time I pull up my phone, I seen you pop up. Now,
Okay.
probably because I had sent you a message and stuff, but it was continuing to come up and your message there. And I've only seen one or two others that have done that for me.
Right.
So they've not. I think it's 20 deep or something like that of how many people are running.
We're at about 25. So
Wow,
last time
it's
I
grown.
looked, it was 22 Republicans, 2 Democrats, and independent.
I did
That's
see.
what's running.
I did see the list today. I didn't count, but I was thinking that is a deep list. But I can say that out of all of those, maybe 3 have I seen anything on. As a voter, I'm just saying, as a voter, forget podcast interviews, nothing. Just as a voter, I've seen 3 that have came in somehow to me and I know people are maybe just now really hitting it hard.
Yeah.
But that would be mailers, that could be social media. You see an ad pop up on YouTube or wherever.
Right.
I don't see that.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that will change. A lot of money is going to pour into this.
Yeah.
But I've told people it's game on now, because the
Yeah.
date's been announced and the filing and all that. So this is going to kick in pretty hard.
Yeah.
This the crazy season, or the silly season, or what they call it. But how do you see that? How do you see your campaign? What do you see as important for you? Because it's such a short time. You don't have
Right.
long to really do a lot. But what can you do in that time, campaign wise, that you think will really share with the 14th who you are and why you're wanting to run?
So I hate to say it, right, because I don't want to just be labeled as a Facebook candidate, but with the amount of distance that we have to cover and the amount of people that we need to be able to talk to, that's going to be a lot of it. I have had plenty of people that have sent me a message, right? Like, this is important to me. How do you feel? There's one guy that sent me a message 2 days ago. I haven't opened the message yet, but it's because I don't want to forget and get back to it. But I try to sit there at night and be able to answer them. And that might be the easiest way to be able to get a hold of voters.
Yes.
Any opportunity that I have something to do like this, where it's a podcast where I can talk to you and other people can chime in. I would love to do town halls, but I also have to find people that are willing to host me. And then you're also looking at everybody's schedules. And if it's something at 7 o'clock on a Monday night, how many people can come out? Or if it's Tuesday at 10, nobody that works is going to be able to show up. So I want to get out as much as possible. Anything that's got a GOP candidate we're hosting, come talk to us. I am going to try to be at. I think there's 2 or 3 that I do have to miss because of rifle meets. But Facebook, I think social media, as odd as that sounds, is just going to be the easiest and the cheapest way to get a hold of people.
It is.
Most definitely.
I've been approved for text messaging. So sorry, they're coming. So I can actually be able to text people and get a hold of them within the district. And I have learned that is the cheapest way to be able to send anything out.
Yeah.
We do not have a campaign fund that's going to allow us to do mailers. So if you ever get a mail from me, something changed and it's great.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's going to be text messages. It's going to be social media, and it's going to be just trying to answer questions of people that have them.
The good thing, I think, on this point, and I have no data points to it, it's just my own opinion, is that probably for what you chose is the best. And the reason I say that is this district is, and the people that show up at the town halls, they're the 50 and up. I mean,
Right.
because the baby boomers, there's a lot of older voters in this district. There are a lot of young people, yes, but the voters that are older, if they have social media, not to say they don't have a TikTok, so don't send me letters. I'm sure you do, but they have Facebook.
Yeah.
And they see that, and it's probably the most beneficial that you would be able to do. And it is quick, and you
Yeah.
can just do things so quick with that.
So I do have one more question. Speaking of the elderly voters, what changes, if any, would you make to the Affordable Care Act, Medicare, Medicaid?
Okay, so when it comes to elderly voters, that's going to be different, right? So the Affordable Care Act and the subsidies that basically go along with that, I do not support. And it's because the subsidies get shifted from you being able to pay for it for you having to pay for it. And I don't think that that's fair.
Yeah.
Right.
When it comes to Medicare, that is something completely different. I think that is really what has to be able to be fixed to be able to help seniors.
Yeah.
So if you look at the cost of Medicare for all seniors, it's roughly $140 billion a year. Okay. So this goes back to the problem with the national debt and what we can afford to do.
Right.
The amount of interest that we spent last year on the national debt would pay the Medicare cost for all of Part B and Part D for 5 years. Essentially, Medicare would be free for seniors. I want to see a lot of healthcare changes happen, but I think that Medicare is something that we need to reduce the cost for seniors, right? We need to find the money within the government so that the annual fees are not the same. But people that have worked and paid into that, we need to find a gap. Maybe it's age 50, maybe it's age 55.
Right.
That Medicare program can never change for them. They have to have access to it because they rely on it.
Yeah.
And any new systems that we change need to impact our younger generation so that they're earning whatever goes with that. And there is a million ways that we could pay to cut Part B like in half.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest things with affordability too, right? If you don't have to pay for all of the Medicare premiums that you're paying for, if that's half, you've got some money for something else, right?
Exactly.
Stick $5 in your granddaughter's birthday card, not.
So how do you feel about, there's been talk about abolishing the IRS and going strictly to a tariff,
Right.
As far as income,
Right.
Goes. How do you feel
So
about
you're
that?
always going to have some form of the IRS, right? It's the Internal Revenue Service.
Right.
We're always going to take in revenues, even if we're taking off tariffs, off revenues. We have a revenue service.
Mm-hmm.
I love the idea of some kind of, if we could be it all tariffs, if it's a flat tax act, some form of the sales tax that reduces the IRS, because for the IRS, we're currently paying about $12 billion a year just to operate it. And that is to collect your money,
Mm-hmm.
right? Enforce the way you collect your money and then give your money back. Because I think it's like 490, almost $500 billion that we gave back, right? And it's not that it was a government benefit.
Right.
That was the money you gave in the first place.
Yeah.
You took it, they paid you to process it, and then they give it back to you. And it's a waste
and
of
you
money.
get no interest off
Right,
of it.
right. Yeah,
So,
exactly.
and there's so many different ways that could be structured.
Right.
I
And
agree
there's-
with that 100%.
And that's the thing. There's a million different acts and operations. And I don't think that we have anything that's concrete or perfect. Like I said, I love the idea of the
Mm-hmm.
Fair Tax Act. I think there's other things that have to be considered to make it correct.
Right.
But there is so many more different options that we could have that would be better by income tax that now everybody is paying their fair share. And I think we need to figure out what that is.
And going back to the military, because your military background, I want to tap into that. Where do you see our military now, and what would you like to see? Is there things that needs to improve? That's probably a whole deep subject. But if you were to take 2 or 3 things,
I
Right.
could spend a couple hours.
yeah, I
on
know.
myself.
What do you see from
Okay.
your perspective? Because I've not served in the military in a long time, but
Right.
I'm a big supporter. We both are of our military.
Right. Okay. So I don't know if you can tell, but right, there's a huge smile on my face now at this point. We are in the right direction. So I love Pete Hegseth.
Yeah.
And I love that everything he's doing, right?
Yep.
So he has taken, we talked about these layers of bureaucracy, like the contracts, right? So many people have to sign it. When we've aligned these commands that we've recently done, like the transformational command, right? We have now, we've reduced positions. So we're paying way less general officers and field grade officers and all these people to do this paperwork, but it's going to be faster. I love when he has changed the fitness standards. He has just changed height and weight standards. And if you're not in the military, it might not be like you really understand the impact of this, but it used to be that we would tape somebody to check their body fat percentage. Okay. And if they didn't meet something by a tape, you're looking at being discharged. Well, this tape standard was created in the 70s. And especially for women, it was created when everybody looked like me, right? They were a lot younger. They were like their mid-20s, right? But they were built one type of build. We only had like one type of, it didn't matter if you had a skinny neck, which some of the different like ethnicities and geographic types, depending on where your lineage comes from, or women with big hips, it just automatically you were out. I had a soldier that paid for water assisted lipo because he wanted to stay in the Army because he didn't meet the tape standards. They were able to take a half an inch off his waist because he was Samoan, right? He was a big dude.
Yeah.
So that implication alone, like he's addressing all of the different standards. I know that there is a lot of heartache about him wanting to look at the fitness standards when it comes to women to be able to different combat jobs. You've got to be able to operate at that level.
Yeah.
And okay, our authorization to allow women in combat has only occurred over the last couple of years. But let's face it, they were doing it anyways, right?
Yeah.
I did a female engagement team in Afghanistan with an infantry unit when we weren't allowed to be there because we were able to write it as I'm here for this, but I'm out doing this. But you didn't go if you couldn't meet the physical standards.
Right.
I also like a lot of the things that have been taken away when it comes to, I guess we're talking about politics here, right? So I can get on politics, right? I always try to watch generally when I talk to people, try to not like piss off people in certain subjects. But when it comes to the transgender issue, okay, regardless of where you sit and how you feel about it, there's something that you need to acknowledge about the fact that this is a medical procedure. When somebody goes through that surgery, you're taking them 2 years out of the fight. And we've all of a sudden authorized this within the military and said, hey, this is okay, we're going to pay for it, which is already a problem, right? Because if you don't agree for it, guess what? Your tax dollars are not pay for it.
Yes.
We're allowing us to keep a soldier that can't fight. So regardless of where you are ideologically, right? You've agreed that a soldier who cannot be in the fight, who cannot do his job in the military, is going to receive the military payroll for 2 years. He's going to get all of the surgeries for 2 years. And he's also taking up a seat in that unit. If that unit deploys and he has to stay back, that unit has deployed without him. So that is a problem. And all of that is getting to change. And then you add all of the training that we have to be able to be like politically correct when we're talking to different people. And I get it. We should be nice and we should be respectful. And I totally agree with that. But as the military, we are totally not politically correct. And if I have to sit through 20 hours without hurting your feelings,
Well,
that's a great point. I mean, I think
you have to look at asset versus liability. When it comes to that.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's the military, unlike the rest of the world, is the only profession we have where we have the ability to say you are not medically qualified. You are not physically fit. You do not meet the height and weight standards, right? You can't do the job because of this qualification.
Yeah.
And if you're not medically fit for it because you have seizures, or you're not medically fit for it because you have asthma, well, if you're going through a 2-year surgery, you're not medically fit for it. It's just the way it is.
It's also mental.
Yeah.
So that's a great point.
Right.
You know, just on a fiscal, and a military is supposed to be ready. Ready to go at a moment. I mean, a unit could get called up and immediately start moving towards deploying. I mean, that's just the way it is.
And any other soldier, if you are on any kind of a medical condition, and it can be recovering from like a broke leg jumping out of an airplane that caused some kind of a weird, problem with your muscles to heal. Mm-hmm. If you are not medically fit for more than 12 months, you face a medical evaluation board to be discharged out of the Army. There's no other exceptions to it. There's none. So why are we giving exemptions to that?
Right. Exactly. How do you feel about women in combat? I think that's something that people be interested in, because the military is changing. Right. That has been approved, and certainly I don't know how far that goes, but I know that has been talked about a lot. But as a female, how do you and a veteran, how do you feel about that?
Okay, so honestly, probably the first 10 years in the military, I was adamantly against it, because they had done all these studies in different countries to where they had integrated women, and it just didn't work out. After being deployed with an infantry unit and seeing females in different units that have served as medics, as female engagement teams, they were 2 or 3 here or there, and really being able to do that job, I think if you earned it, if you physically are capable or able to keep up and you have the job skills, I'm all for it, because I have yet to see it cause a problem.
Okay.
I can get on board with that.
Very good. We're in the last few minutes. We scheduled this for an hour. We hope you'll come back.
Oh, wow.
As this thing goes, it goes by fast.
I like you guys. You're fun.
And we have so many topics, but we do have another show coming. But I hope you'll come back and be with us. We want to help. We're here to be a resource for anybody. If there's any other candidates you want to come, just get in contact with us. but we're here for you. If you say, hey, I want to jump in, I want to do answer and get this out. Somebody's asked this, I want to get it out there as fast as I can through my media, through your media. Just let us know.
We'll help you in whatever way we can.
What have we not covered that you would like to say? Because I'm an undecided voter, and I am.
Okay.
Why should I vote for you? Tell me how, as an undecided voter in the 14th, why I should vote for Miss Jenna.
So my two biggest things are going to be, one, my understanding of fiscal responsibility, my desire to fix that, and the understanding of the impact it is going to have on everything else. Like, that is what drives me. It is the fiscal platform and the fact that we need to fix that. And I would have to say, besides that, is that I really understand the job of a representative. My desire is to be in my community as much as possible. I absolutely love it here. And I definitely have some high school kids that are going to have a heart attack if I never come back again.
Yeah.
I have 4 kids. 3 of them live here. One of them is currently grown. Her husband is stationed at Fort Stewart, Georgia, so they're military as well. But my kids will not move. My husband will not move. He does not want to see the inside of Washington, D.C. ever in his life, which means
I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
I can appreciate it.
I will be home every weekend, right? I want to be able to hold, if I'm elected, I want to be able to have an office up here in the north side of the area, like possibly Roseville, wherever is a really good connection for everybody. And then I want to be able to have one on the south side of the district. And I want to be available where people can actually walk in and see me. As a company commander, we have a chain of command. I have a first sergeant, I have platoon sergeants, and there's a chain to address an issue. But I never had a point to where if a soldier wanted to be there at 5 p.m. and knock on my door because they needed to talk to me about something that was important, that I wasn't there for them.
Yeah.
And I want to bring the same piece as a representative, and I want to be physically available to the 14th district.
That's wonderful. And
awesome.
You reminded me of something that is so very important. And a lot of people know it, a lot of people don't realize it. Of all these issues we talked about, and they are important, one of the things that the office does is it never gets on TV, but these positions, these seats can help people get things that they're blocked from. Maybe they're a vet who are having a problem with a VA or something. There is a lot of information that and things that this seat will help people with.
Right.
And to Marjorie's credit, she always said in the town halls, our staff is ready to help you. Just let us know how we can help.
So
And it opens doors for people.
the first time that I ever actually had any kind of an interaction with politics or congressional officer or anything that really understood the impact, I was 19 years old. I was pregnant with my first daughter. My husband was deployed to Iraq, and I wanted to go to where my mother was in Oregon to be able to deliver, right? So that I had my mom's support, and my unit was like, no, you don't need to go. We're here. We can help. I called my mom crying, right? I'm a 19-year-old girl, first child. And she's like, is there anything you can do? And I was like, yeah, call my congressman, like not thinking that this is a realistic option. This is probably 6 o'clock at night. She called my grandpa, who called my congressman. And when I showed up at 7 o'clock the next morning, there was a congressional inquiry on my battalion commander's desk. And he was required to allow me to go to my mother's house to be able to deliver my daughter.
Awesome.
Awesome.
So that's the impact that I want to be able to have, because you can help everyday life.
Yes. And people are frustrated. It helps again. It opens doors. They know people. They can talk to people, and this is the way it is across the country. I remember, I will say, and I'll say it quickly. I was never a fan of Ted Kennedy, but Cal Thomas, who was in Washington for all those years as a Christian reporter, he said, I have watched him help so many veterans and stuff. He said, we don't agree politically at all, but what he does in the office is he is helping people. And his staff, and a lot of times you're dealing with the staff, I get that, but that office, that staff is helping people get things done.
Right. And I think that is one of the biggest benefits of having a veteran in office, is because we serve with people of all political ideologies.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter what you are when we are in combat. It doesn't matter what you are when we have to get a mission done. So our ability to work and talk to somebody else is, I think, significantly more profound, because we have that experience. We've had to work in it before, and we're able to do that again.
Real quick, because we are around out of time, Roski's asked, do you believe that retired people should be exempt from paying property taxes? And I know there are some of that in our state. I don't remember the age that it is. You remember 75 or something like that? I don't think they charge after that for that. Any thoughts on that?
So I think it's going to be more of an age limit than a retirement limit, because I retired at 39. from the Army, right? So there's a difference between somebody who's
True.
retired at 39, somebody's going to be retired at 72. I do not think that somebody who is retired should have to pay income tax.
I agree.
And that is actually a thing. So the Georgia is really good. Georgia this last year has actually passed a law to where military retirement pay is no longer subject to income tax. I do not think that any retirement pay should be subject to income tax.
See, I'm sorry, I disagree with the income tax altogether. But that's a
I
story
agree,
for a different day. But
right, we have to fix it. We have to find a system to fix it.
Exactly.
Those
We don't
are-
have that yet.
Right.
Those are great things. What about a couple quick things, just real quick, and you can just hammer these. The what we're seeing in our country is a lot of concern about, and Broski brought it up. Some of this terrorism, domestic terrorism, Islamic terrorism. I don't know that Georgia has faced a whole lot of that, but we have seen a little bit. Any thoughts on that from your role as military to what our country may be experiencing right now with that? And not just them, but there's others as
Right.
well.
So I strongly support going back and re-vetting any visas that we've issued since 2001. For those that don't know it, right, because we also have a lot going on with the immigration issue. There was at one point a time to where a soldier could be able to, or an individual could be able to earn their citizenship by serving in the military. We lost that. And we lost that because we actually had an issue with individuals that were coming over on visas that were not vetted, that were enlisting in the military, that were getting in without an FBI check. And we found out that we were enlisting people that were on the terrorist watch list.
Wow.
So if we were putting them in the military at this point, there's obviously some indication that we've brought a lot more into the country. And it's not against anybody. It's not, right, you came from here, you're not a great person because you come from this, but it is important for our own national security. And I think it all needs to go back and be vetted.
Very good, very good.
I think a lot of people have also read The Art of War, and they know that destroying something from the inside out is the easiest way. It takes more time,
right?
but
But
you
over time.
really destroy it
Yes.
from the inside out.
Hey, thank you so much. We are out of time. I appreciate everybody that's watching. This will be airing again and again. We'll keep putting this out there. We hope you can come back and be with us. And thanks so much
Absolutely. Thank you
It's
guys
the
for
first
having
time
me.
podcast. We've been having first this year.
survived.
You survived. You were on the hot seat and you did a great job. And thank you to all of your friends that may see this and help spread it out. I mean, that's how you can help her with this, is take this and just share it out wherever and get your messaging out. And we'll try to get her back as things get a little closer. We appreciate y'all watching, and this is going to be fun. There's going to be a lot of activity in this. I didn't know it got up to about 25 people. That's absolutely crazy. I don't think I've ever seen in my time in working with elections, I don't think I've ever seen that many. It's like the president or something. I mean, when they run, there's always that, there's like 50 people run. I mean,
Yeah.
there's always the porn star in California that runs. There'll be the entertainer that'll run. I mean, you get all that. So not saying any of those are running in this, but it's fun to talk politics, and I appreciate your military service again. I
Thank
do.
you.
And teaching.
Thank you.
And teaching. We didn't get that. There's a whole lot more we could dive into in teaching and education, and we'll talk about that next time maybe. Take care, Dave, Paul, Jenna, and we'll see you next time. Be careful out there in the rain tonight in our district. High winds, rain. Be careful out there, and we'll see you soon, okay? All right, there it goes.